out breath, allowing the shoulders to relax, the face to relax, to relax. And because we're all yogis together, we're going to do an arm to just open up, just one your arm together, so breathing in. I just thought it might be interesting for those of you, well, those of you who have met him, but also those of you who haven't, to hear Nick's perspective on yoga and education particularly. I wanted, kind of strange to introduce him, but Nick has worked for several decades for the European Commission in innovation in education. So how does the future of education look in Europe and abroad, in Mexico and other places, and what can we do to innovate and inspire young people going forward, and how does education need to change to kind of catch up with where young people are. So I think it's kind of interesting to get his perspective from someone who started outside of yoga, so I thought maybe we'd start with Nick's perspective.
Okay. Yeah, I've worked a lot in innovation in education, doing projects, inventing new ways of doing things in education. Those are often quite successful, but very often they don't spread. About 10 years ago now, I went to Mexico City and I was working in marginal neighborhoods on the outskirts of the city in schools that had been built by the local people because the government wasn't even recognizing the area as an area yet. So they literally had a floor, a light bulb and breeze blocks. And I arrived there with all my illusions and excitements of I'm going to bring technology to these people and innovation. And I started asking about what their problems were, and they said, well, the basic problem is that they don't get enough to eat. And they can't learn anything if they don't have enough to eat. So I had to throw all the ideas out of the window and focus on developing a project just to bring fresh vegetables to the school every morning to give the kids breakfast, because they literally didn't get breakfast at home. They couldn't learn unless their bodies were ready to learn. When I met Charlotta for the second time, and I obviously wanted to explore this thing, yoga, that she was so into. I couldn't really have a relationship with her without doing that. And as I started to discover it, I realized that the same kind of thing was happening. That we can invent all sorts of wonderful ideas in education, but they don't really take off unless the kids are ready for them. And most kids aren't. Most kids are not relaxed enough, calm enough, in control of themselves enough to be able to learn effectively in our schools. And increasingly, as I got further and further into it, I sat in on a course that some of you have been doing this week a few times, and I began to see that this was the glue I'd been missing all along. This was the thing that if you put this into a school and you give this to the young people, all the rest will fall into place because they'll be ready, they'll be receptive, and all of the evidence is there. Like our friend Ed, who comes on the course in Spain, guy who's a Spanish teacher in Acton, he discovered it simply because the kids said, "What's this yoga thing you do, sir? What is that?" And he said, "Well, it's," and he went into tree. And they all laughed and tried to do it and fell over and fell about laughing. He thought nothing of it. Next day, they all come back and say, "Sir, look," and they all go into tree. "Show us another." So he showed them another. He showed them warrior. And then the next day, it was child's pose, and so on, until they got into yoga. But he found, incidentally, that doing that at the beginning of each class meant that they'd come into calm by the time he tried to teach them anything. So at first he was concerned that he was wasting classroom time in a school environment where time is of the essence and there's lots of curriculum to get through and you've got to really focus. He was finding that those 5-10 minutes that he was incorporating of yoga were actually making the rest of the hour, if you like, more effective because they were just ready to learn. And that's what yoga does. And that's why what Charlotta does is so important, and that's why this book is so and that's why I'm going to shut up.
So interesting perspective that something like yoga, something that we maybe take for granted, maybe we don't see the breadth of what it can really do, can have an impact on learning to such a degree that it can be introduced in any sphere. I mean, when I started this, I thought, oh, it's just for people who are interested in yoga, obviously, you know, and it has to be that buy-in. But increasingly, I'm seeing one of the students, ex-student Rianne, turned up today. She was telling us about how she's been asked to use yoga in several schools to help with anxiety, to help kids learn better. In the one school that she was doing it in, the Catholic school here in Bath, the A-level grades went up by 2 points because of the yoga intervention. So they went up from a C to an A because of the yoga. So that's a really big deal from a school perspective. But one, obviously, from the perspective of the students, they are now learning to deal with what could be potentially a life-threatening problem in terms of it being anxiety and life kind of something that could destroy their lives in long term or make life very difficult for themselves. So that's really exciting. So that's partly why I've invited Robin along. Well, Robin's always by my side and I'm always by her side. Robin was the youngest yoga teacher in the UK until very recently. She's grown up since then. But she did the teacher training course with me and has worked extensively in schools, not only teaching her peers, but also teaching her teachers, which I think is really lovely, in Stroud area. So I thought it might be interesting for you guys to hear from her about why she came into yoga at a young age and what her peers think of it. She's also the leader, I would say, of something called Team Bliss. She's on social media and she's always presenting at our annual conference, the Instill Conference. And she's going, and so it's just to hear from that perspective of how it's perceived and what she's been doing for the past few years. So, do you want to tell you a little bit about your story, about how you got into it?
So I got into the meditation side of yoga first when I was about 12, and I got into it in Scotland. My dad came to visit. My parents are split up, and he was quite alarmed, I think, by how I was really angry. And he said, "Come and stay with me for a couple of weeks." So I stayed with him. He lives near a waterfall, so he'd say every morning, "Go and walk to that waterfall, and I want you to just sit there for 10 minutes and then walk back." And I did it, and at first I really, really hated it because I didn't want to sit and be in my body. It was like torture to just be in my mind. But eventually, I really felt the difference, and by the end of the 2 weeks, I said, right, I'm going to try and keep this piece going at home. It didn't really happen that easily.
Without the waterfall.
Eventually, we kind of got there, and then I got a yoga DVD on Christmas, and I started doing it every day before school, and I just felt ready for school. I just get on the bus, and I felt immediately ready to learn instead of feeling half asleep and a bit grumpy. And I wasn't really an academic child, more of an arty one, so I didn't really believe that I would do well in my exams, but I actually found that the meditation and yoga was not only helping my relationship with my parents and my friends and myself, but also it helped with my school performance, like you were saying. I was on E's and then I ended up getting A stars. And I really do think it's just the meditation and the yoga, because the more everything started changing in my life because of the practice, I then would just think, oh well, if it changes my state of mind, then maybe if I just change the way I think about learning, then the outcome will be different. So instead of thinking, oh, I'm bad at maths, I'll never be good, I just change that and then keep trying, and eventually it would work. So, it's the focus that meditation brings, that you can be present. To be present, like while a teacher is explaining, is so powerful, because then you're just going to be like a sponge instead of
But also, I mean, your A-levels did seem remarkably effortless from where I was sitting. I don't know if they were, but it seemed like
I didn't get stressed.
no, I mean you got like a textile grant, and she wasn't even particularly interested in textiles. She's like, oh, you're really good at textiles. She was like, oh, really? And then what happened?
Everything did seem
Pretty
like,
effortless, right?
even if it was art or even if it was like a science. I guess the practice helped me understand how my body and mind work, so then I could just apply that to everything. And then, I think that when I did the training, you'd always say like, it's really important to take care of yourself.
Yeah.
And to not overwork and overstress. So I just think, okay, there's only so many hours in the day. Being at school for 6 hours, I can only do another 2 hours of work. Make sure I sleep well, eat well, and I think that's super important. I think what kids do is they overwork, try so hard, and then get disappointed because they're not on their peak performance, and they're just shattered. So
And also, it seemed like you really, everything you were doing at A-levels, things that you really wanted to do, there was never any question. It seemed like you were just following something that feel very natural to you. And I was wondering if that's also a connection to just knowing what you want and knowing your flow kind of thing.
And learning to listen to that internal guidance.
Yeah, that's what I was watching you, as I was watching you unfold. It was quite exciting. Then maybe people would like to know a little bit more about actually what your friends, because you've got Asha, haven't you, and Rebecca, like why, especially the guys, like why did they come to yoga? What was their kind of motivation for that?
I think, so all of the people in Team Bliss have different reasons why. Some of it's like substance abuse, anger, anxiety, but interesting, like most of the boys, they didn't really want to do it at first. They kind of thought, oh, what is this? It's a load of rubbish.
It's a girly thing.
Yeah. And then I think as soon as they get the challenge and the fun of it, just it's almost like you kind of have to like play into the ego a bit. So you have to be like, right, can you do this? Because I'm a girl, I can do it. And then it will soften, and then they'll like the relaxation. But it's like that entry point that gets them into it. And then he would tell me, oh, I had like completely lost it and got really angry, but I just walked away, and he would inhale for like 5 and exhale for 10, and he'd just do that loads, and eventually he'd feel different.
Actually, Who would like to ask any questions to either Robin or Nick before I carry on? It's a wonderful opportunity for you to speak to either of them.
I'm not quite sure what Team Bliss is.
So Team Bliss is basically a group of young people, and I mean it can expand. It's not exclusive. And it formed basically because of your conference. Because Nick said, "Robin, do you want to talk at the conference? Maybe should we get some other young people's perspective?" And then using social media, I would kind of reach out to lots of young people doing yoga, or just using people that I knew from classes and people that you knew. And then we formed, and we met at Charlotta's house, and we put together a presentation, and then we all enjoyed it so much that we just decided that we wanted to keep it going. And really, the aim of it is to have, I guess, a voice for yoga for young people, so that young people can see that actually there's a whole variety. We really wanted to break the stereotype, because I kind of fit into the yoga stereotype. So I kind of wanted it to have like, you know, broader to really reach people.
So it's a group of young people who've come together across the UK who all love yoga, and most of them are like under 19. And everybody, if you know any young people who feel the same, then you know, feel free to put them in touch with Robin. She's very active on Instagram, particularly. But
the next project is to survey attitudes among young people to yoga, both here in the UK and across Europe. See what young people actually think yoga is, what they expect, when they hear the word partly to educate and partly to find out. And that's Robin and Flo are working on that at the present. And that's,
Flo was 13 when she
Flo's amazing. So
Flo's a rugby trainer. She's
Yeah.
a rugby coach. And she's 13.
and she's now started yoga class at her school. So it's a very pushy school near where we live, a grammar school, all girls. And she just said, Robin, what do you think if I just teach some of the stuff you teach us every week? And I was like, yeah, if your teachers are happy, then just, maybe avoid crazy things like headstands, but just keep the simple things and see, and it's going so well. And it's so cool.
She's really cool, yeah. So there's lots of young people, and I think what was being said at the conference, I just want to reiterate, which I thought was so clear, I think Flo said it really clearly, was, we're being told in PSHE, we're being told continuously by the media that there are issues with young people. There's gender issues, there's anxiety issues, there's mental health issues, but we're never given the tools to deal with them. So what happens is we turn to each other, and the way other people cope, and our parents are coping, inevitably is alcohol, drugs, or some other kind of substance. That's the norm, yeah? So to have another way to deal with what is so common, and for that to be taught in a school feels really important. This is what Flo says, and I kind of quote.
It's like it's an anchoring, because in your teen years, there can't be more change possible. Your body's changing the school, maybe
Friendships.
People's parents.
Yeah, parents are changing.
And it's like the one thing is you've got your yoga mat. You don't even need a yoga mat. You've got you, and you can do this. And
Yeah.
it's like that is so
To have
cool.
that as an anchor.
Yeah.
That's a really beautifully said. And just then to finish off this conversation, Robin and I have also both been in House of Commons together. It's so strange, isn't it? So I was invited in 2017 to be part of an all-party parliamentary group for yoga. And the idea is that there are 4 verticals: yoga in prisons, yoga in healthcare, yoga in schools, and yoga in the workplace, that we lobby and speak to parliamentarians about how to introduce on a national level. And I'm responsible for yoga in schools. And so we invited Robin along and came to speak to everybody about what it was like. She's saying very similar things that she said to you guys today. And that's really, it started to snowball now. And we created a charity kind of in parallel to this, which works to investigate and research continuously what will work and what doesn't work in school scenarios, so that when we go to government, we've got something really solid. And also that's why these courses are so important, so that we've got a kind of bedrock of people we know are well trained to deliver yoga in schools when it becomes a national thing, and whether we need to regulate, and all those questions are coming up in tandem with that. So it's a really exciting kind of tipping point in terms of, we couldn't really even imagine that this was possible. So yeah, that's the reason that I wrote the book. Was actually, I was saying to some people here yesterday, I wanted to write a book for teenagers because I felt that I wasn't reaching enough teenagers, and I wanted teenagers to be able to just pick up a book and go, okay, this is what I need to do. So I wrote a book for teenagers, and I sent it into the publishers. It was this way around actually, and they were like, thanks, but no thanks. We don't really publish books for teenagers. It doesn't really work. Teenagers don't really buy books. And then so I started to rewrite it, but rewrite it for therapists, for yoga therapists. So I rewrote it, and I sent it to Nick, and he was like, nah, it's not really good enough, it's not really flowing enough, you've got to kind of put it to one side, forget the whole thing, and write it all over again. And then so the third iteration, I sent every chapter to Nick, and he sent every chapter back to me going, yeah, this works, this doesn't work, this works. So it's been a really long process of trial and error, of distillation of basically 30 years of working with young people on and off, either as an MFL teacher or as a yoga teacher, and thinking about how can, I didn't want it to be for yoga therapists, I wanted it to be for yoga teachers, yoga therapists, parents and teachers, but that was too broad, so I had to write it for yoga. The title had to be for yoga therapists, but that's not actually who it's for. It's for all those other people. And that's this is the result of it. And off the back of it, they've asked me to write another book for GPs on how to use yoga in the surgery rather than medication, which I think would be really exciting. So when and where yoga could be used to support people with anxiety, people with back pain, and then another book to be written for the PSHE curriculum as a workbook for teachers and a workbook for students. So that's come off the back of it. And you know, I do tell you, I'm really excited about it. It's been so long in the coming. It's hard to be excited because it feels like it's taken so long. But at the same time, it's kind of. My mother's a writer and she's written probably about 15 books. So it feels very special to write a book. And my mum always said, you know, you can, you know, you should write, you can write. So to actually write, and for her to see that I've written feels really lovely, just on a personal level as well. And then I thought to myself, well, it'd be interesting to see what experts in the field think of this. I'll just put myself out there and see what they say. And we had an amazing feedback. So Anthony Selden, who is the founder of the Happiness Project, I don't know if anyone's heard of the Happiness Project, he is also the Chancellor of Buckingham University. He wrote the foreword for it, which was such an honour. And then a few researchers, and Simon Haas, who's, you know, a lovely writer, also did. So I feel validated that it's okay, it's good enough, you know. So I just thought what I'd do is I'll just read a little bit from it. And actually, I want to read you the conclusion because there's a quote there from a boy that I will never forget. It was one of the most influential students I ever had, and I think I was saying to the group today, you know, that how this is the most rewarding thing I've ever done in my entire life, is to actually teach young people how to take care of themselves and know that that is something that they can carry in their hearts forever. And in fact, in this very studio, exactly a year ago, we were doing an introduction of why people were there. And one woman called, and she looked at me. She said, "I'm here because of you." I said, "Well, yeah, you know." Well, no, you taught me yoga when I was 14 at Ridlington.
Really?
Yeah, really. And ever since then, I wanted to do what you do. So then I trained to become a yoga teacher, and now I'm going back to Ridlington to teach, you know, teach at my old school.
So cool.
Maddie Norris. So she, you know, and that was like, wow, that feeling of like, I've made a difference. And we went to a conference in the US about 3 years ago, and there was a headmaster came in and said, 40 years I've been a headmaster, and what I'm seeing is the same families coming through making the same mistakes, getting pregnant when they're 15, going into drug and you know, abuse, not breaking that cycle. I need to find something that can break that cycle for these people. And any teacher, any social worker, that is always the focus, isn't it? How can we give people opportunity who generally don't have opportunity? And of course, yoga is, generally speaking, like Robin says, it's for middle class women who, you know, access yoga. So how do we make it broader? How do we access young people who really could change their trajectory because of it? And this young boy was one of those people who kept coming every single week until he was thrown out because he was too old. So it was meant for year 7 and 8, and he kept coming on in year 9 until the head of year 7 and 8 was like, "Rory, you really can't go to yoga anymore." And he would like skip rugby practice and all sorts to come. So I just wanted to read a little bit from that chapter. So yeah, as I write, I'm preparing my first lecture to postgraduate certificate in education students at the university in London, in the UK, on how to incorporate yoga in the classroom, making these teachers the first ones to intrinsically train in yoga. And this is happening annually now that I go to Oxford Brookes and various other universities to train PGCE students and how to use yoga for self-care for themselves, but also for their students. The UK government is taking steps to incorporate yoga in society in various ways. Because teachers and leaders, they drive the future. They influence hundreds of future leaders every single day with their manner, their ideas, and their teaching. Teachers are model, you know, they model for young people. If you're sharing life skills with young people, you're part of determining the future of our planet and of our world. If you have the skill of teaching and sharing yoga with young people, the world has a brighter future, brimming with a positive outlook, peace and compassion. More funding and more research is needed to evaluate and support initiatives that are happening on grassroots levels anyway, with passionate individuals like yourselves who have a single vision of alleviating suffering among young people. My intention has always been to empower young people, so it seems only fit to end this book with a quote from one of my most mischievous and vital 11-year-old boys who came to yoga every week for 3 years until he was forced to leave, as he was too old for the group. I love the way he describes his experience of yoga. The main thing is it's just about you. Yoga's different for every person. It's for you. It's not the main purpose of football, which is about getting the ball in the goal, because there's nothing to really help you. It's just your body. It's your limit. It's your strength. That's the main point of yoga. Like your limit's like something I can't do yet. Like I can't do a handstand or a wheel, so I can just build up to that. And by strengthening my muscles and by pushing my limits a little bit further and further, I can achieve that. It just makes me feel happier. It makes me remember who I am. Because sometimes you're just caught up in school and you forget who you really are sometimes. Like you're in the school uniform, you have all your books in your bag, you've written in them, but then you just run around places and you're not in your own body, but you are. And in school, in yoga after school or in the middle of the school, you can just relax and break down. And I was just like, oh, so eloquent to say, that thing of you're expected to be something, but actually in yoga you're invited to be yourself. And that for him, it made a massive difference. And in fact, he became very, very, he went into the 18 rugby because of his yoga practice. His yoga practice helped him with his rugby, but also helped him cope with his parent separation. That's what he kept on coming. So, yeah, so this is the book. And thank you very much for helping me.